Hi, honey. It's your darling husband, Brent.
He knew what mattered most, better than I, for sure, and had those priorities straight.
Well, I've developed a 12-step category for future successes and happiness.
He just has this way of focusing on what it is that he knows is right and what is important.
There are three great loyalties that have guided my life and everything in it: God, family, and country.
We have with us here today Private First Class Taylor.
While I am far from perfect in any of these respects, I have given my life to serve all three of these loyalties whenever and however I can.
It's going on an airplane to Iraq.
Yeah.
Can you say Iraq?
He was always serving, just helping others.
And today I'm announcing that I will be deploying to Afghanistan.
His job as a mayor was also service, so he was just always serving and putting others before him.
And I thank you for allowing me to serve you.
Service is not just lip service, that you really have to be willing to sacrifice. It is a sacrifice. Their father is gone for the rest of mortality.
I want you to know I'm prepared for this, spiritually, mentally, and physically.
But I think sacrifice is always coupled with honor.
And that's why we don't need to fear.
And I hope our children will see that, even in the midst of their sacrifice, that the blessings will come.
So I love you for that, honey. Stay strong, and I can't wait to see you again.
His heart was always here. Just a huge heart for family.
Brent went to Afghanistan the final time to train a team of Afghan soldiers.
Right now there is a need for my experience and skills to serve in our nation's long-lasting war in Afghanistan.
One of those soldiers took his life on November 3rd, 2018. The news came as a shock to his family. Brent was just 39.
So I was in Provo. I'd spent the night with girlfriends and let them know just how excited I was Brent was almost home, how exhausting it was that he's gone, how overwhelmed I felt.
We were having a great morning.
And I got a phone call from my mom. She was here with the kids and she said,
I just was holding my stomach and just praying that he was just wounded, that there was just going to be some hope.
There's two soldiers in uniform here, and that only means one thing. And it was a lot harder to tell the kids than to have them tell me, because I don't have 7 arms, and I had 7 shocked kids, and especially a broken-hearted oldest daughter, who the second she saw the two soldiers in uniform, she knew what that meant. And she just looked at me and said, Mom, no.
I carry the names of all my friends and soldiers that have been killed since 9/11 in my hat. Brent Taylor's number 16 on my list. They're real people that had families, hopes, dreams, ambitions. So it's very painful.
It is anticipated that I will serve for a period of 12 months.
The price of freedom surely feels incredibly high to all those of us who know and love our individual soldier. But the value of freedom is immeasurable to all who know and love America.
It wasn't just our small community where he actually was, but it was people everywhere who just heard his story and they wanted to reach out to us.
And I have been reflecting on the impression he made on young soldiers. It's a representation of the love people have for military families.
He was always there for us.
Brent's commitment, Brent's dedication, Brent's sacrifice resonated with people.
I felt such a peace and such a reassurance that especially in those first few days, the strength that I was able to carry came from the millions of people praying for our family. My 7 children are not just mine. They are mine and Brent's, and they were first God's. And certainly if I love them the way I do, and if I'm worried about them the way I am, so is Brent wherever he is, and so is God.
We were all kind of struggling with, what do you do?
Whoa! Whoa!
7 days after Brent Taylor died, men who knew and loved him
Let's just try to keep it together.
orchestrated a larger-than-life symbol for everything he meant to the community.
Reach!
Plans were underway to unfurl the flag in the early morning hours of Veterans Day.
So we're flying this for everybody who's ever served our country. Thank you for being here and honoring Brent and those who served us.
It's 150 feet by 78 feet. It is the biggest flag that has ever flown independently.
It's starting. Yeah! There it goes, there it goes. Oh,
Indescribable.
We wanted to surprise Jennie. I'll never forget the look on her face.
Look up there.
It was a magical morning.
She told us afterwards that there is a huge flag flying up in Coldwater Canyon. You've got to go see it.
And you could see it from everywhere in North Ogden. You'd see it coming down off the hill, you'd see it down at the store, you'd see it at the schools.
Dear Mrs. Taylor, I'm Major Abdul Rahman Rahmani.
Just one day after Brent died at the hands of a man he was sent to train, another member of the Afghan military wrote a letter honoring his fallen friend.
I wanted to convey a message to his family and to the American people that the one who killed him is not representing Afghanistan.
Pass my words to your 7 children. Tell them that their father was loving, caring, and compassionate man whose life was not just meaningful, it was inspirational.
He credited Brent with changing his perspective on family, that his wife and children were not his property, but his greatest treasures.
That's not something that Brent learned in the Army. That's not something Brent learned at a military school. That's something Brent learned from Mom and Dad and through his mission and through Jennie.
Slowly changing hearts one at a time.
Maybe that will make a difference in many lives.
Hey, shut that door, please. Okay, you don't need to eat in
I
here.
don't want you to be grumpy.
And he would just wrap his arms around me and say, "You're amazing, you can do this."
7 children, a mom with only 2 arms.
I would feel down on myself as a mother, and he would just tell me how amazing I was and how capable I was. I want to hit him and say, "No, I'm terrible at this. The house is a mess."
And then when you're like grown up and you have kids, I mean,
Life in the Taylor home is filled with laughter and noise and sometimes tears.
Honey, if you cry while you eat, your food will fall right out of your mouth.
But Brent's influence is unmistakable.
Did you see that cool picture of you with Daddy? I know. I don't know that I really believed him until November 3rd. And in that moment, I believed him. I can do this. I can be a good mom. I can keep his memory and his legacy in our children's lives, and I can do this.
It's time to go night-night, so Daddy's gonna read you some stories.
Brent's involvement often came through videos, Skype, FaceTime, and also email.
When he was home, he always made sure to make time for us.
When he was with his kids, it was evident that he was 100% there.
Hi, son.
That was like precious, sacred time for Brent.
Hi, cute boy.
I think his kids could feel that.
Deliberate in having a fun time with the kids. Deliberate in making those moments count.
Every Saturday, the family weeded, planted, and harvested on their mini farm.
He taught me to find a way to make every situation work, even when we were outside in the farm and I didn't like it. He would always tell me that when I grow up, I'll thank him for teaching me how to work.
I want to say that I really love you, and I'm going to miss you a lot.
Even though I have no idea what the future holds, I know the future is as bright as my faith.
Two weeks before Brent was killed, another soldier he served with died. Brent's last public Facebook post praised his Afghan friend for fighting hard for free elections in his own country, and it encouraged Americans to vote in our election.
He kind of wrote his own eulogy almost with that last post that he put on Facebook.
He felt that democracy, again, was God-given. It's not America's way, it's not George Washington's way, it's not Brent Taylor's way, it's the Lord's way.
That love for freedom never wavered for Brent. It inspired his military service, his political goals in North Ogden, and his love for the American flag.
He'd put it up in every apartment that he was in on his mission, and he would say his pledge every day.
He'd have this U.S. soil in a little jar. He loved Andrew Jackson.
One look around Steve and Tammy Taylor's home, and it's not hard to see what inspired Brent's love for his country.
It was just the colors that I gravitated to, and it just became my thing.
Mom was never like, you guys are going to join the military. And I think she was quite surprised that we all did.
I know if we could talk to Brent today, he would say, I'm proud to have had the opportunity to give up my life for this flag and my country.
First Sergeant Garrett Johnson served with Brent during his first deployment in Iraq.
He wasn't one that would ask of someone something that he wouldn't do. And that's the type of leader that really inspires people, that they're doing the same things they ask of those that they lead.
There was no fear in him. He wasn't living his life worrying about the next shoe that was going to drop. Brent was out making stuff happen.
You know, sometimes you'd have leaders say, well, it's my way or the highway, but if it was wrong, regardless if they outranked him, he spoke and said, no, I don't agree with this.
Serving as mayor of North Ogden City.
That purpose carried over into civilian life.
And the thing we bonded first over was this idea of fixing the political divide in our country, in our state.
We are not Democrats first. We are not Republicans first. We are Americans first. We're actually all on one team.
But he was willing to stand up and ruffle feathers when he felt it needed to be.
I saw some of his enemies become his best friends.
It was always about consensus and bringing the group along, and if the group went a different direction, then he supported it and went that direction with them.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Just here at the...
2 years ago, we had a humongous windstorm here, and I think we ended up losing over 500 trees in the city. He was one of the first ones out there with chainsaws. I don't think he ever went home that night.
He was the quintessential example of improving your area of influence.
He truly was the perfect mayor and the perfect boss.
He left us better than we were when we met him.
We'll never know what he could have done, but I do know it would have been great.
He could have been in Congress. He could have served as the governor of our state. There's no question that we're worse off because he's not here.
His commitment to the Savior Jesus Christ is paramount.
That I know the Lord lives and that I know that his gospel is true.
He was a genuine disciple of Jesus Christ.
Over the following year, Brent's influence had a profound impact on First Sergeant Johnston's life.
He did it in a way, in a loving way, that wasn't pushy or trying to force his beliefs or religion or thoughts or values on anyone else.
That influence started when Brent was in basic training and continued through his last deployment.
On Thursdays, they would meet in the chow hall, any Christians who wanted to.
An Army Ranger told the Taylor family that Brent's influence during those weekly Bible studies caused him to rededicate himself to the Lord.
The final discussion they had would have been the week before he was killed, was on the resurrection. And he said that Brent bore a beautiful testimony of the hope and the light of the Savior's resurrection, and that made it for Brent to not fear death.
He didn't have a death wish. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to leave his family, but he had a testimony and God's plan of happiness.
We say our prayers and leave it in God's hands what exactly will happen.
We both together trusted in the Lord, and it's never backfired. It's never once backfired. And what is it God wants you to do? What is it God is willing to let you do in this world? For him, it was all about people, listening to people, sitting by people, coming to understand people.
There are ways all around us to brighten someone's day, to lift another's burdens, and to make our city, state, and country a better place.
And I think that's something each of us can aspire to, in or out of the military, in or out of politics, in or out of the public eye, wherever we are.
Lastly, I charge you once again to go out, be happy, find peace, and make a positive difference in the world. Thank you, good luck, and Godspeed.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Hundreds of thousands of lives have been lost in the fight for freedom since this nation was founded.
That American promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness has been preserved by the shedding of blood for almost 250 years. Our country's ongoing quest to become a more perfect union has always come at a very heavy price. Our founding fathers who signed the Declaration of Independence did so with a pledge of their lives, their fortune, and their sacred honor. They planted seeds of patriotism, of independence and freedom, knowing full well we would be the ones to sow the fruits thereof. Nearly every American alive at that time was helping to pay the price of freedom because nearly every American alive at that time was personally impacted by that war. Either they suited up and shipped off to the front lines themselves or sent their son or sweetheart into harm's way. Nearly every American alive at that time knew someone who died in battle at that time. Is it our turn to decide to make it worth it? The way they lived their lives and bore their burdens, the way they fought to defend freedom and protect peace they prayed we would someday enjoy is what made it worth it to them. Is it now our turn to decide? And is that even possible? Can we really decide whether or not their sacrifice will be worth it? Abraham Lincoln thought so. In that address, he teaches us how it is that we make it worth it. He says it is for us, the living, to take upon ourselves and carry on the unfinished work of our honored dead by taking upon ourselves an increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. Yes, the price of freedom has always been high. But what if that price were not to be paid? In the 22 months that have passed since my husband was killed, I have come to the conclusion that we best honor those who have gone before us by deciding to make something of greatness and honor out of the lives they have given to us. That is what our founding fathers pledged to do. That is what Abraham Lincoln called upon us to do. That is what every fallen service member from the dawn of this nation has died for us to do. That is what the very stars and stripes in our Star-Spangled Banner remind us to do. And that is what America and this world needs us to decide to do. It's our turn to decide to make it worth it. It's our turn to decide to make something of greatness and honor out of our lives by living on purpose and with a purpose. It's our turn to decide to make something of greatness and honor out of our lives by strengthening our homes, our families, and our communities. It's our turn to decide to make something of greatness and honor out of our lives by turning toward each other rather than turning on each other when difficulties arise. It's our turn to decide, to stand up, to rise up, and raise up the next greatest generation of Americans this world will ever know. And so I return to my original question. When was your patriotism born? And have you decided to let it come alive in you? Does the way you live your life and chase your dreams bring honor to those who would give their lives and every one of their dreams simply to preserve for you the chance to pursue yours? Believe me, the price of freedom feels incredibly high to those of us who have loved and now lost our individual soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. But the value of freedom is immeasurable to all who know and love America and the indivisible principles upon which she stands.
Even in death, Taylor's service to country continues. His final Facebook post implores Americans to exercise the freedoms he died fighting for. Quote, "I hope everyone back home exercises their precious right to vote," he posted. "We have far more as Americans that unites us than divides us. United we stand, divided we fall. God bless America."
May we remember what Memorial Day is all about. May we help our families commemorate the legacy of those who have gone before us.
May we decorate their lives by adding honor to the lives that they gave for us. May we remember this great love story, this American story. And along the way, may we find our part in that story, so that when we have a hard day or when we have a good day, we can change in or out of those work clothes, in or out of whatever persona we have going at the moment. Pick up that symbolic shovel and go flip over some dirt. That we can be grounded with Mother Nature and with the earth, with the memory of nearly 250 years of those who have gone before us, and the hope of the hundreds of years that still lie ahead of us. May God bless our great land. May God bless us with a love for this land, for the history and the heritage of this land. May God bless us with a love for each other as we stumble through this land, through the thorns and through the weeds, in the sunlight and in the rain. May we work together so that we can reap the beautiful harvest of what we're trying to produce. And even more importantly, so that we can plant the seeds that will be harvested by generations yet to come. And may we all find a more renewed dedication to serve, to sacrifice, and to add honor to those who gave their lives doing the same. Thank you.